And moving on to, I just feel like this meeting's going to be quick. Moving on to item 5, seating of alternates. We do not need to seat any alternates. Okay. And item number 6, additions, deletions, amendments to the agenda.
I have none.
Carlene, do you have any?
I don't have any.
Great.
Bill does not. Tom does not. Okay. All right. And item 7, public comments related to items not on the agenda. We do not have public
here.
or nobody public comments. All right, which brings us to item 8 is the. Oh, okay. Okay.
Chelsea, have any comments?
I can't hear Ahmed, just his mic wasn't on.
If Chelsea joined, then let me please read if at any point anyone would like to ask a question or make a comment and have joined this meeting with their computer, they can click on the raise hand button located at the bottom of the screen. We will be alerted that they would like to speak. When called upon, please unmute the microphone and ask the question or make a comment in no more than 3 minutes. Those who have joined by dialing in a number on their telephone will need to press *6 to unmute themselves and then *9 to alert us that they would like to speak. A slight pause will also be offered at the conclusion of each agenda item discussion to allow members of the public members an opportunity to make comments or ask questions. So that brings us to item 7, which is, are there any public comments?
No pressure, Chelsea.
Okay.
Oh, she disappeared. Oh.
Wrong meeting.
Uh-oh.
I scared her off. Okay. Brings us
All that for Chelsea, and then she bailed on us. She's just teasing us.
Yes, there you go.
I move we approve the minutes for the last May 4th meeting.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
Okay.
Okay, to Janine second, Hayden motioned, and then we need a roll call.
Right, member Shute,
Aye.
member Stewart,
Aye.
member Hamilton,
Aye.
and member Malakovich.
Aye.
Okay, which brings us to item 9, general manager comments.
Well, first off, you might notice a new face in the room. Amanda, I don't know if this is your first meeting for this group. Amanda, we call her Amanda
This is the
W.
best committee.
It's our third
Best committee.
But she's our new communications specialist for us.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
what the exact job title is. It's
Administrative analyst communications.
okay. I don't know. But she has just recently started with us, and I don't know, give them a 60-second rundown of your background and why this is awesome.
Originally from the Empire. And for the past, 13 years, I have been consulting in the healthcare public policy arena, mostly Washington, D.C. and California. A lot of biopharmaceutical work. So I have also a background in new housing development. So I've dealt a lot with HOAs and project management in that arena. I am a graphic designer by trade, but my background is public relations and communication.
Nice. Well,
So-
welcome.
Fantastic. Yes.
Yeah, we're happy to have her on.
Yeah, we're really lucky to have someone with her qualifications in this role. I think she's going to bring a lot to the table.
Fantastic.
And so she'll be attending these meetings and being like what Cynthia was, being the main coordinator of some of the newsletter content and all that sort of stuff. And I think that one of the first things, I'm not sure if Carlene's gone over all the list yet, but is to do kind of a communications plan and or where are we now, and the kind of gap analysis, and then look how we go to build it forward. But with some, in the past, it's always been something we've asked a staff member to do on the side of when they're busy trying to do what we pay them to do. And it always goes fits and starts because they're not laser focused on that. So this position will definitely help expand our capabilities.
Great.
Excellent.
One other thing, and now that we welcome Amanda, the board last board meeting, I guess it's last month now after today, we selected a new board member. Someone this committee is familiar with, I think she's former chair, Julie Johnson. We had 8 candidates come in, and all of them had a variety of qualifications, some more impressive than others. But the board discussed, had them describe to them their capabilities to each of them. And as we told them, there's 8 of you, they can only pick one. So 7 of you are going to go away disappointed. And we offered up to them that because each of them in their letters to us said, we want to
Get engaged.
We're like, well, cool. We got another way to do that. And I don't see any of them here today. But hopefully we'll be able to garner a few of them. I know there's a couple of them that are more interested in the engineering side of it. There's a fellow who has a aerospace engineering degree and a master's of public administration. I'm like, oh, and a law degree.
And a law degree.
I was gonna do that, but my wife told me I'd need a lawyer if I went back to school again. So, but we're happy to have Julie, and I think that now we have two of our board members who started on the committees. And I think it's that was the main driver for the board, looking at someone who spent 5 years on each of our committees, been through multiple budget cycles, coming into the situation as we're about to consider a budget. Well, she's already looked at it multiple times on the Budget Finance Committee. So I think that was the right choice. And for all you potential committee members who are listening in the public today, you know, come down and show up, and every now and then a spot opens. I know Bill got reappointed.
He did.
Back off the committee, and so it is a pathway.
Mhm.
And it's really a testament to you guys to, you know, even come here without getting per diems. We did have somebody inquire about it who asked if health insurance was part of the gig, and it wasn't, and they didn't file an application. So
High deductible? Or
yeah,
just-
there are agencies, there's fewer now, but you know, 20 years ago was a standard. You got health insurance, and some of them for life
Wow.
if you served as a board member,
Ooh.
even after you leave.
Wow.
It was,
Well, that's the.
yeah, really
Got
Well,
involved
good
too
for
late.
Julie.
expensive. But yeah, so Julie had to resign from the committees that she was on because we already had board members on there, which she did. And then she did indicate to me today she's interested in becoming an alternate for the Santa Margarita Water Master thing. And I'm like, okay.
It's really heavy lifting.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, hey, I might be able to talk Hayden into being the primary. I don't know. It's because I think it only meets once a quarter, if that.
Once a quarter, and it's all Zoom now.
Oh, wow.
So, which means Michael, I can't remember his last name, who is actually from the Sacramento area, doesn't actually have to come down to the Margarita watershed.
Does he get paid 300 grand a year?
180,
Oh, 180, but
something like that.
part-time gig.
Yeah, part-time gig.
Wow. That's a good
And
gig.
he's hired two people to assist him.
So, okay, well, you know. So those are my comments.
That's all you got?
Oh, there's attachments coming
Yeah.
up. You
Sorry,
said you
Jeff.
wanted a quick meeting.
I was kidding.
I can go on as you all
No, I
know.
was gonna say,
We know, we know, we
How
know.
about some comments on Monday?
Well, that's on number
Oh,
11.
that's
Yeah.
on my agenda.
They carved out a whole slot for me on that.
Yeah, no, the team has been sworn to secrecy to say that our fastest meetings are when you are traveling.
Oh,
or
well,
not.
I don't dispute that. But they're less informative.
I let it slip.
Let's just say that. They're less
All right.
informative.
Thank you, Mr. General Manager.
they're not as bad as the water authority meeting.
I did 7.5 hours on that, and we didn't even get through all the committees last week. That was brutal.
All right, moving on. Item 10, committee member comments. Why don't I start to my left?
Nope, nothing.
I think Janine's the farthest to your left, just she's up there.
There.
Oh,
She's over there too.
that's-
Sorry,
No,
right?
I have nothing.
Okay, thank you, Janine. Bill?
No, just that I do think that the press has done a better job of covering the issues surrounding our detachment proposal over the last month and a half, and I'm pleased to see that finally. And it's pretty balanced, I thought, both with the Copley paper as well as local press, and that's important. I do think that we have an opportunity at the hearing to further perhaps change minds about, you know, what we're doing. And I think that new information that's being developed about the rate structure of the water authority is
Helping.
playing into this, you know, and I will say this about 2018. That was the last year I served on the board full time before I was reappointed, and was off the board for 3 years after that while you were making the application and going through the initial part of the process. You know, but you know, when Tom came to us and he said, you know, water authority is in a bad place. These take and pay contracts are going to kill us. Tom saw that water consumption was going to decrease, not increase. And that and that their fixed costs were going to become so great that nothing could happen except huge rate increases. And when the opportunity not really looked for, but came to, came across his table or across his,
Oh, I looked for it.
Yeah, he looked for it. Yeah.
yeah, just accidentally bumped into the
Yeah.
guy over here at you.
Deep into the county water. Just casually.
Just casually strolling. He said, my goodness, they can purvey water to us just as easily as the county water authority. And as we got into it, it looked like it was going to be a simple process. And yet it's taken 4 years, and the water authority has managed to throw every kind of smoke screen possible at us.
Yeah.
And
I think the spaghetti
Bill,
dam factory is
We
out.
knew it was going to be protracted the day after we informed the water authority that we were interested in exploring this,
yeah,
and we're hit with a PRA.
yeah.
Letter from the lawyer is the first thing you get.
So so I think that I have great hopes, and I know that the community will come out and support it, I think, and that we deserve an opportunity to let them go to a vote on a fair deal that will give us the opportunity to try to save as much of our agricultural history as we can. So just thanks to Tom back there in 2018 and for his perception, and thanks to the board ever since for understanding, working so hard on this issue. It has been a lot of hours and a lot of hard work, and sometimes a lot of bumps and bruises as we've gone along.
All right. Thank you, Bill. I guess my only comments would be, again, Amanda, welcome. Please don't be shy with this committee. Anything that you want to bounce off of us, there's lots of years of experience in lots of areas and functional areas, whether it be communications or business or HR, whatever happens to be, this group has a lot of experience. So we're here to help and we're a resource to you. So welcome.
Great, thank
Look
you.
forward to working with you.
Yeah.
And then my only other comment would be, I know we're going to talk detachment update in a minute, but just with regards to the town hall meeting that was hosted over at FPUD, I thought that went really well. I was a little bummed I ate before I got there. Once I realized that they had free box lunches, I was pretty jazzed, but I was very full.
They want to keep people happy in this. It was dinner time meeting, so.
It was a
Yeah.
dinner time meeting. That's why I went to what's the Estrella's right before.
Yeah.
Ooh, Estrella's good.
Yeah.
And,
you've
so I
done
was
better. Sandwiches were there.
okay.
Farah makes a decent sandwich.
Oh, there you go. But I thought
So-
that meeting was well attended. And I thought you guys did a great job talking, and it was nice to hear from other speakers. And I thought the public made some good comments out there. So those were my
The
comments.
one where the guy asked if Hunter Biden was on LAFCO wasn't quite what we were looking for, but.
But you
know,
expected something like
it
that.
did look a little bit like a Trump rally in there.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. All right. That's it on committee member comments. Moving on to item 11.
Oh, no,
detachment.
no comments. Well, Monday's the big day. So like Bill was saying, this has been 4.5 years since I first was leafing through the County Water Authority Act in response to asking Keith Lewinger, who used to be GM at Fallbrook, but would till last month represent Carlsbad. Why didn't the North County agencies who sued the Water Authority in the 90s get out? He said, you got to change the act. You can't do it. It's in the law. And I'm like, damn it. I want to read the law. I guess he never read the law.
The law.
Because if you read the law and it's buried deep in a very dense, weird thing, you go to section 45-11, it's an appendix to the water code. And you find this thing that says exclusion of territory. I'm like, what does that mean? It doesn't say detachment, it says exclusion of territory. I'm reading it. And I go, I think this means we got it. I said it to Alfred, our attorney. I said, Alfred, does this? And he goes, I'm not sure. And it kicked it around a little bit. And after a couple of days, we're like, yeah, that's what it says. So we spent the better part of 3 months going back and forth with the legal counsel, just to make sure that we looked at all the angles. Like, is there some other law that says we can't do this anywhere? And we looking for fatal flaws, and we didn't. And that's when we first started talking to LAFCO, like, hey, how do we go about this? And then it was May 21st of 2019 that I formally informed the Water Authority over 4 years ago. Here's our intention. And like Hayden said, first thing that comes with the Public Records Act request from their lawyer, and
In less
lot of-
than 24 hours.
yeah, and then a few months after that, a resolution and a closed session to authorize $1 million to block us, and a resolution with all their terms and conditions, which are found nowhere in law, but only in the Water Authority's fantasies. Long story short, we spent the next, what we thought would take a year, maybe a year and a half, turned into 3.5 years after we applied.
Yeah.
And it's been a brutal run, but at the end of the day, even though the Water Authority did empty out the spaghetti factory to throw it all against the wall with everything under the sun, we have found we got a point to the staff at the commission has produced a really great, well-written report. We had that prospectus going around that some people thought we made that, but it wasn't us. That was LAFCO's document, and it's detailed and yet concise. Although I will tell you that of all the comment letters, the board packet is 542 pages long for LAFCO with a ton of stuff in it. But the staff report's, I think, 25 pages, 30 pages, something like that. But they have concluded that the staff recommendation is to let us detach with an exit fee. So they put out 5 options: 1, detach no exit fee; 2, detach with an exit fee; 3, pause so they can gather more information, which is insane because there's over 12,000 pages of documents in the administrative record. And then the last 2 are both denial options. And so we're looking forward to getting it going. But, in the last week, a lot of stuff's been going on. So early on, I reached out to the California Avocado Commission because, say, hey, we want to talk to you about getting support. And they totally stayed on the fence. And some of them were people you heard speaking at the town hall meeting, a group of growers who's not happy with the Avocado Commission because they think they're not being hard enough on Mexican fruit, which is one of the water costs. And then the price, there's 2 sides of your business, what your cost of goods are and what you can sell it for. We're trying to deal with one side, but the other side is that, they need to promote Buy California more. And so they formed a new group called the Avocado Growers of California. I think I saw an email today. They've got 100 people signed up, on their list, and they held meetings at the Fallbrook Library, and they've got little committees set up. And so they've been leaning on them, and some of them attended an executive committee meeting of the Avocado Commission yesterday, or was it the day before?
Day before.
The day before.
No, it was
yesterday. Yeah. The holiday weeks always gets messed up, but there's so many things that happen. And they had on the agenda that they're going to talk about both the detachment and AB 530, which is the bill the city of San Diego is sponsoring to force a countywide vote on any detachment from the Water Authority, which they're hoping to shove through the legislature. I don't know if this was after our last meeting here.
Yeah.
They got an assembly member from Encinitas to gut and amend a climate change bill on methane emissions, strip all that language out and insert language modified the Water Authority Act. This was just 2 weeks ago.
And this was by the city of San Diego representatives, who is the GM and assistant GM,
Chair and
vice chair
the vice chair
of the Water Authority.
and the chair.
And the Water Authority says, well, we didn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, it's the city of San Diego sponsored bill. It's just like, come on, guys. That didn't make LAFCO happy, but the Avocado Commission is going to write a letter to LAFCO and come down to testify in support of option 1, and also in opposition to the AB 530. And so that's a significant thing. This morning, the San Diego Chamber of Commerce, I think it's the San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce, had it on their agenda to talk. And that was a closed meeting. We weren't invited, but the Water Authority, the same 2 people, the chair and vice chair, went down there to convince this Chamber of Commerce to oppose detachment. Well, they failed to do so. The Chamber of Commerce has not taken any position on this, which is good.
It's excellent.
Because they're trying to, I think, like you were saying, Bill, the people who have been reading the coverage, which has all been, factual, they're like, hey, what's the deal here? I think some of the members of that committee, from the readouts I got from it, also like, well, where's the other side on this? Why aren't they here? How do we make a position when we only are hearing one side of the position? And so they were probably hoping to get that and go wave it out of LAFCO. But so right now, it comes down to, at our level, what we can do as far as providing info to staff and working with their consultant over the last several years, getting an accurate staff report, which wasn't easy because the Water Authority tried to divert them into all kind of weird ways. At first saying we owe them $1.2 billion, stuff like this. And we went through all that stuff, and the staff report, to everyone who's read it, and not just on our end, but people who are, independent, they say, yeah, it was extremely well done and it's understandable and we believe factual. Now, the water authority will likely find all sorts of faults on it, things like that. But it comes down to the votes, and so I don't know how the vote's going to go. I wish I did. And there are certain people I don't know how any commissioner is actually going to vote. So
If
anybody who's
you'd asked us 4 years ago, we'd had a much better picture. But
well, and the commission has changed. so much.
Changed,
There's
yeah.
so many people who have changed on it over the years, and that's one of the challenges with delaying it. It's like, well, who's going to vote on it then? But I'm pretty confident there's probably 3 solid yes votes. There's the city of San Diego came out against it and put an opposition before there was even a staff proposal. I mean, the proposal could say we have to pay them $2 billion to leave. And are you still against it now, San Diego? But I think there's many who are undecided. Some like San Diego is opposed. So it's hard. We got to get to 5 votes. If I was a betting man, I would put money on it. There's not going to be a no vote. I think that right now the most likely vote is going to be to do the delay and kick the can down the road. At which point we'd ask LAFCO if they're going to do that. And I have a slide this specifically that they should now, with what the city of San Diego is trying to do, that the commission, if they're going to do that one, they should add to their findings that they're going to set the method of elections now as being in our service areas, should this go through, as opposed to let them change that. LAFCOs hate it when people try to go around LAFCO. It's not an uncommon thing. LAFCOs don't do what somebody wants and they go try to get legislation done to give them some exemption from LAFCO or something like this. And so LAFCO has written a letter to the legislator saying there's all kinds of problems with this, we need to talk and we oppose this legislation. And so I don't know the legislation is going to go anywhere, but I'll tell you what, amongst water authority board members, we're like, well, hey, while we got that book open, we're going to make some changes. How about some changes to the voting structure so that it could be you need a majority of member agencies and a weighted vote to pass something like Sandag used to be, but the city clawed that back so that they can rule the roost. This is the city of San Diego
You
trying
bet.
to bully the rest of us around
You
because they outnumber us population wise, all of us. All the other areas of the county combined don't add up to the city of San Diego. And then we're talking, maybe you have an ethics office or an independent auditor or something like that. And so there's some of their member agencies who are looking to sit down with the legislator and, hey, let's make some amendments, because it's kind of lousy that the water authority and person with the city of Oceanside spoke to the legislative staff, said, how much outreach did you do to the other 23 member agencies on this before you sponsored this bill to just get a sense, hey, is this something that makes sense? Or are we just taking one? Because we could have gone to somebody and say, hey, let's change the law to, specify there's no exit fee. But we didn't do that. We're working within the law. So I don't know that it'll go anywhere. Camp Pendleton has come out against it. They actually sent a letter, their attorney, to the water authority chair, asking them not to act on it last week, where they took a position to support over many of our objections, saying that we don't understand, we haven't had time to look at this. Can you just pause it so we can look at it? Because Camp Pendleton is a water authority member agency, but they only take water deliveries from South San Clemente. They're not connected to the pipelines here at all. Their water delivery comes out of Orange County, and yet they pay water authority rates, which are hundreds and hundreds of dollars an acre foot more than the people in San Clemente are paying for Met water. And so they are not happy about that, but they use so little water. The military's got a lot of problems, so big things to deal with. So this isn't high on their list, but I know there's some folks on base who are not happy about this, because when Jack Beebe from Fallbrook asked the person who made the motion, can you at least say it's a motion if amended to deal with Camp Pendleton? They said no, and they rammed it through, supported as it is, even though they knew that they should just amend it to deal with at least that one specific member agency's problem, not ours.
Yeah.
So the meeting starts at 8 a.m. Our thing is time certain at 8:30. So if anybody's planning to go down there, you got to get up early, especially if you're like, I come from Escondido. It's not as bad with the 15 being what it is. The chamber, at the town hall, as I'm sure if you guys were there, saw that Leela Hargrove from the chamber has arranged for a bus to carry people down. I'm not sure how full it is, but I understand it's pretty full. If she said she'd get a second one if needed. They're leaving, I think, 6:15 from the chamber's parking lot to try to make it down there. Just for anybody who's recording this, I asked Leela where the money came to get that bus, and she says it didn't come from the chamber, but it didn't come from you. And I'm not telling you because you don't need to know, and I don't know because it wasn't us, because we can't pay for those sorts of things. But whoever out there in our community did it, I appreciate it. So, but it's been great to see that even without our direct involvement, other people standing up to the Chamber of Commerce, or growers going directly to the Avocado Commission and advocating. And I'll tell you, there'll be a lot of people there, a lot of growers who are going to speak. You were talking about the media, Channel 8 and Channel 10 were up with news cameras in Fallbrook today, taking some shots, and they did some B-roll up around Fallbrook, and I gave them a pin on a GPS pin to a Dead Grove for them. They all like the Dead Grove stuff. And I know Bob Lucy, who's a former board member here, but the president of Delray Avocado, was interviewed by the UT today. There'll be a story come out in the UT. So, it's getting closer to the finish line. So this is going to see a lot more media over the next couple of days. So keep an eye out for that. But there's a billion other details that I won't go into because we're keeping it short today. What was that? 10 minutes?
All right. Thank
All
you,
right.
Tom.
Yep, good update. All right, moving on, item 12, customer survey results update.
So there's not much to report here. We did promote it in our newsletter this month. We created a QR code and included that in the newsletter, encouraged customers to respond. We've gotten 2 responses from the newsletter. So we went from 34 to 36 total responses. So it's not different enough from what I presented last month to, to do a new presentation, but we're going to continue to promote it. We're going to get it added to our website and put something in the lobby, like another QR code for people to scan and respond to it. So people who come in person and interact with our staff can have a way to see that's available and respond to that.
I know that there was, and we'll get to item 15 about media stories, but on the topic of the school field trip,
Yes.
I noticed there was coverage
Yeah.
in the paper. There you go. Is there a way to do the 3D barcode in some type of a release or article in the paper to try to get survey?
I think we'd have to pay for an advertisement to do that.
But the cost of advertisement's relatively cheap, isn't it?
Yeah.
Particularly, it's just a customer survey barcode,
And it's just
QR
the
code.
Village News goes well beyond our service area as well. So you got to try to sort out who's.
But I think in our survey, it asked whether you're a ratepayer, right?
It does not.
What's
Well,
that?
It's not asked that question.
Oh, I thought
Oh, we didn't.
We
I
only-
thought
So
we-
if we advertised it
I
to
think we asked
non-customers,
questions
then we
before
could
they-
very well get people who are not our customers responding to our survey.
Well, I think this is one of the things where Amanda can come in handy as she takes a look at
Yep.
what we're doing now and how we might do it better. But as you see, the response rates on these things is always low, but that's really low. And it could be that some people, A, don't read it, B, aren't smartphone users, although that demographic is changing, it's but
it is.
it is.
My 90-year-old mom uses an iPhone.
Oh,
and
I'm
well.
She's 86, she's got one. I FaceTime with her. But so it's no excuse, but there are some people who just, they got the jitterbug.
All right, well, then we can definitely let this get into internal chats about how best to get more
To promote it.
It may,
responses on that.
require some incentives, like some days, fill out this survey and win a chance to get a $25 Visa card, right? And
Or a spritz bottle.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, no, I understand. We'll let you guys work on that.
Thank you.
Any other comments on 12?
Nope.
Item 13, newsletter content planning.
Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen here. This is kind of what we have planned out for June. We were gonna do something related to our rates because we do have the rate hearing scheduled for the end of June. We have a graph that was in the Prop 218 notice that went out that's kind of a where does your money go graph that I think a lot of people are surprised that only 10% or 9% goes to employee salaries, for example. So we plan on including something related to that. a small little promo with instructions on how to participate in the rate hearing that's scheduled for the end of June. Last month we had selected water efficiency to move to June. That was originally going to be in May, but we ran out of space. And then we were thinking of doing something to kind of recap the potential opportunity for the crop swap. I think Amanda, as well as Hayden, attended the event at Rancho yesterday. And one of the things that they need from other agencies is an interest list to confirm that there's enough interest for grant applications so that they can expand the crop swap program beyond their area and make it more of a regional program so we can get larger grants. But they want to confirm that there are interested farmers from each agency.
Just to
So
clarify, if you're not familiar with the crop swap program, there's some federal money that can help pay farmers to use less water intensive crops, or in the case of avocado, perhaps switch out to, more salt tolerant crops so you don't have to water as much. But a lot of it in Rancho was conversion of avocado grape and things like that. And so I don't know, you were there. What are the stats, Amanda? I remember you had some notes in your.
Yeah, the farmers can actually save up to 15K per acre. And the incentives are there. It's just about getting farmers interested in the program. We don't want to launch this and get the grant money and not be able to, bring the program to fruition. So the goal is to help ratepayers reduce their, monthly rate, but also to import less water. So we're reducing costs overall. And the benefit of it is that we're going to sustain the local agricultural districts. We don't want to diminish the legacy of the land and lose out on those ratepayers and have to, have the influx of pay go to our residential customers. So we want to gauge interest within the community, reach out to our local farmers who we know, and make sure that this is something that potentially could help them, and we can work together with our other agencies.
Okay.
So what we'd like to do is kind of have an interest form on our website and an informational article in the newsletter explaining a little bit more about it with instructions on how to fill out the interest form if that's something that they want more information about.
Okay.
It's much better to sell somebody 75% of the water you used to sell them than 0%.
Right.
I-
Exactly.
I think the point of water usage and the distribution from ag to residential was made pretty strongly during the town hall.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the timing of when we need to prepare July's newsletter, because of the way the calendar falls, July's committee meeting won't occur until after we need to have the newsletter prepared. So I was hoping we could also get input on what to include in the July newsletter. I think we'll have our water quality report. This was carried over from Cynthia's previous list as something.
We need a detachment update.
A detachment
Have
update.
some information,
Some information.
whether they punted to July or whatnot. We'll see.
Mhm. Okay. Because potentially there will be a meeting scheduled for July 10th as well, right?
Yeah, but that's,
Yeah,
we don't know.
any other specific suggestions? This is kind of the list of possible topics that we put together a few months ago and some recurring topics that we could consider.
Well, it won't be holiday grease disposal, I can tell you that. Well, 4th of July, I guess.
Oh, there's a detachment update right here.
Well, I think, anything along water conservation.
Yeah, we're coming into the summer months.
Okay.
I think you have a few topics there that you could pick from.
Yeah. It's always good to give the Diglett reminder every now and then too,
All right.
if you need
We
space.
usually have space for about 3 items. I mean, 4 items.
Call for committee members. We
Yeah,
have-
yeah, okay. I think we can easily make that a kind of a recurring.
Yeah.
Recurring thing.
I was hoping to see one of the 7 here today, but didn't happen.
I know, I was too. There were some pretty good candidates that, okay, so I think that gives us enough content for July. And then, next month, we can talk about what we want to do for August and keep it a month ahead at least.
Okay. Any other comments, questions on item 13?
Nope.
Oh, thanks, Carlin. Okay, moving on. Item 14, HOA and sub-metering outreach update.
So I'll have Ahmed give you the details of what he's done, and hopefully we can put this one to bed, but my understanding is, and correct me if I'm wrong, that he's gone through and figured out how to parse all those addresses. So the next time we have a notice that needs to go out, we can do it even for like the director division vacancy. We were able to get all the addresses in there, not just from our billing system. And so you know, I know we've been talking about this for a while, and it was one of Pam's things originally, but I don't know, Ahmed, have we exhausted our remedies here?
Yes,
I know for this agenda item, I kind of wanted, I guess, feedback on what the ultimate goal was just whether it was just to learn how to mail things to the sub-metering residents from time to time, whether they wanted to send newsletters to them every month or try to get an email list. I wasn't sure what the ultimate objective was and whether we achieved it.
The ultimate objective, as I understood it, is to get it to, especially our important notices, rate increases, director division, things like that. I don't know about monthly newsletter, which we could, but it just be a special mailing to them, which we don't have.
Which would be a cost.
Bill, or people who are e-billing, they're getting it electronically. That would be, yeah, there'd be an additional cost. I'm not sure. Can't be more than a couple hundred addresses, I would imagine. You know, how many non-customer mailing addresses we dug up?
yes.
Well,
So,
we only, oh yeah, Ahmed might know.
so I believe for Division 1, we were around 300 customers. That was just for Division 1.
Just Division 1.
Well, that's Division 1 has a pretty high percentage. of them
Yeah.
because it's got all those folks over by.
Let's get into
school.
one and over here and
Right,
Yep.
but then when you get out in Division 5, I don't think there's any multifamily homes. Not that, well.
Ahmed, what are the numbers?
So
Yeah.
we're still working on the numbers. We're still
Okay.
getting those parcels. We do have the way though, because we had just built it for getting the Division 1 addresses.
Okay,
But they're, yeah, I'm kind of estimating right now that they're going to be less than 2,000, but over it.
okay.
and postage also just went up today.
Good thing I bought all those
60 cents.
forever stamps.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've made progress. We have a methodology to get them.
Mhm.
So we will have the ability to be able to send out any kind of communication that we need and hit all of the people that consume water and would be interested in district business with the communication once we're done.
Yeah.
But I think that's good. I mean,
Great.
we had no visibility to these individuals before
Sure.
because they were masked. So
And we know that the postcard we mailed out included them and it was effective in getting candidates for the board vacancy.
Yeah, I don't know if any of those people were, I think the woman whose main qualification was a relationship with Pam lived in a place where
Yeah, she's in the HOA.
Yeah.
all
Uh-huh.
of them did come out of that.
Well, Pam may have also talked to her too. So
Yeah, on a Friday, glass of wine.
do we have an estimate on when we think we'll be done?
Yes, we should be ready by the next meeting.
Okay. So then we'll carry this over and then we'll just talk about what the totals are. And we can go from there. Okay,
that would give us a way to do a cost estimate. Right now we have,
Cost, what my question is, what do we want to do with the information now that we have it?
I think
Or
that-
just know that it's available from time to time as we see a need.
I think it's like, sounds like a fine thing for Amanda to look into.
Yeah.
for a review of this. What's the best way to do it? What's the most cost effective?
how long has she been on board? 3 days?
Weeks,
This is her first regularly scheduled work week.
like 2 weeks prior. to
Oh, that's right.
Wow.
They did say that she was at the last meeting, she was starting the following week.
Right.
Yeah.
well, but
Just-
without
Just saying, we're
She is a part-time
getting ready to
employee.
dump the bucket. and-
Yeah.
without jumping to what we do with it, we have to have it. And
Yeah.
we know that within a month, we'll wrap up the having it. And then we can start discussing what is an effective use of those delivery points.
And by having it, I think the best thing is to have a simple to execute methodology to refresh it, because those
Yeah.
things change.
Yep.
As people move in and out, unless we just want to say resident.
We just say resident on what we sent for the postcard, all of them just said resident, because there's no way we would get the names.
But you know, you never know. 'Cause
Okay.
Those things get stale. So
Well, I think let's follow up next month on what the totals are, and then we can start deciding what to do with the information.
maybe we can change it from HOA and sub-metering to non-ratepayer resident outreach. Or something like that.
Yeah,
Non what?
Non-rate.
right there.
Because we
Well,
have.
they are a ratepayer, but they just
Well,
aren't paying us.
no,
It's
Right.
indirect.
If you're leasing a property from the ratepayer,
We don't have a business relationship with these people, but they're a
Mhm.
resident.
They're not a rate, they're consuming and paying for water, but not directly to the
To us.
district.
Right.
We don't have they're
So
not. a
whatever that's
ratepayer.
called. But
non-ratepayer.
I mean, yeah, we don't, it's just that we maintain accurate records of the people we send bills to. That's the challenge.
Yeah.
It's just that everybody else, it's not our gig, but we'll figure, maybe Amanda will find a more artful name.
wow. Keep drinking the water, Amanda. Gonna need it.
They're a non-direct ratepayer consumer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, add in the non-direct. I like that. Good. Thank you, Bill.
Ratepayer, Consumer on.
It sounds like
Of water.
non-ratepayer sounds like they're not paying for their water, and that's
It
not.
Sounds like a contest.
Yeah.
Internal contest. Name the,
We'll find an acronym.
Direct versus.
All right.
Indirect.
Any other comments on 14?
No,
Okay, we're moving on to 15. Public communications related media stories. So, well, obviously there was in the main paper here, right? They talked about the vote. I think it was front page, right?
Which one?
LAFCO, the LAFCO meeting. It was in the Village News.
Village News?
Village News Special Town Hall meeting set for May
okay.
17th. There was a notice for a vacancy of the Board of Directors advertisement. There was the RMWD pursues CAL FIRE vegetation management grant,
Mhm.
and then the hosting the Bonsall High School
Yes.
field trip.
Oh, I thought there was something on LAFCO in the last one, but maybe I'm just
Mm,
thinking of the
I-
town hall talking about.
It comes
LAFCO.
out today, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's today.
So
today.
it might be today.
I haven't seen, didn't stop at the post office on the way in.
Others?
You know, that one, Carlene, I believe, put together that article for the school. That was basically a press release we sent to them.
yeah,
That was-
they took my press release. I mean, the committee suggested last month that I do it, so we sent it to them, and their only response was to reply back and say, can you please send the pictures, as JPEG files so we can use them, and it was, that was easy.
They like programs like that in the Village News that promote, local community activities. So,
No, that was great.
and this was a nice coverage piece.
Yeah, and we had a quote for Joseph Clevenger, who's the superintendent, and I called him to run through the quote. But then the last part of that quote, he added on the last bit of that quote to it. He says, no, you gotta add to that quote. You want?
I thought it was great.
The students were engaged and excited to learn about that portion
No, about the great work that we do
Oh.
for Joseph.
and see firsthand the great work being done at Rainbow Municipal Water District.
That was, sometimes you write a quote for somebody, says, is this okay with you? And they're like, yeah, that's what we do. No.
There was a recent article in the UT too, about
Yeah.
Palomar College and their emphasis on let's call it practical education
Sure.
and, trade education essentially. And saying that the college was very focused on developing more programs along those lines. And I
Yes, I
Right.
think there's going to be expansion of our integration with the school since they really enjoyed it. And then there also, a lot of kids go over to Palomar,
Right.
you can get dang near an AS degree going to Bonsall High School because they're taking so many classes over there. So
yeah.
at some point, those
That's
things
great.
merge. And then we can be a spot for Palomar College to come across.
That'd
Yeah,
be
I
super.
was going to say the outreach to the college for field trip opportunities.
We had talked to them early on, one of the they've changed the person who was running over there, like, hey, there's opportunities here, but they were so busy getting that campus started up.
Yeah.
But now they've got their program going with the high school. That'll be the end. One of the challenges they've had is transportation for some of the kids to get them back and forth. And some of you were at that CSDA meeting a couple weeks ago where we asked Sandag, like, hey, we need some bus service up here. And they're like, yeah, you guys are too far out there.
Your streets go all over the place.
Yeah, like, oh, they go like this, and it's like,
That's true.
okay,
But keep sending your money.
our sales tax money.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The only other thing I saw was obviously there were some articles, I think, in the Times and the LA and New York with regards to the Colorado and the
The can getting kicked down the road.
right and the approach that is being taken there, which obviously impacts everyone. But
I
Yeah.
thought they reached an agreement for the lower basin.
It was
Yeah.
what John Fleck, who wrote the book River Be Damned, coined a shakedown. Essentially, that the lower basin states who had refused the deal, and the upper basin states all made a deal, but California said, no. That the farmers in IID said, that's a really nice river basin you got there. It would be a shame if someone were to destroy it. But for $1.2 billion, we might let it go for another couple of years, which is essentially what's going on. If it hadn't rained so much here in California, would have gotten really bad. And they had good hydrology there as well. I mean, this is a big year.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be that every year. And the structural imbalance remains. On average, they're taking out more than is there. So they're going to get $1.2 billion to cut back some water temporarily. And then
Got the money in it.
and there's no details. And I've looked at the document. There's no details on it.
I haven't seen.
The thing about it is, the insidious thing about it was that Dan Denham runs the Colorado River programs at the Water Authority. I said, well, hey, if they put mandatory cutbacks on IID in our IID contract, mandatory cutbacks, we don't have to take the water that gets cut prorated. But what he explained to me is that the problem is that the canal lining component of the QSA goes first, which is our cheapest water, then the IID transfer. I'm like, oh, that's bad. So it's good there's peace on the river, but the cuts are going to have to be coming all the way around. And I hope it's not just taking taxpayer money and handing it to some of these big commercial farmers to, not tank the system. And at some point, we got to get some rationality here and say, look, it's a shared resource. There's not enough. And I think the Bureau of Reclamation's pro rata cut, we need 13%. Everybody takes the same haircut. We're not even going to get into all those water rights stuff. Everybody takes the same haircut and move on. But people realized they could shake down the federal government for $1 billion+ and they did.
Yep.
Sorry. I'm
the
sitting.
purse strings have opened.
Got some smart farmers out in IID.
Well, they live in Del Mar and La Jolla.
Yeah.
Yeah, their farms are out there, but they don't live.
Any other communication or related media stories?
Well, keep an eye out this weekend. There was an article on the Water Authority budget process and some of the stuff that went out last week. And I forgot to tell you, in a startling bit of candor at the Water Authority last week, we were going over the 7.5-hour meeting that we didn't even do all the committees. It was, and the chief financial officer for the city of San Diego, which is like the 10th largest city in the country, is now on the Water Authority board. Good guy, Matt Vespi, you've known him for years. Smart guy. The Water Authority is saying we need to raise rates to increase our debt service coverage ratio because it's 1.5. We don't want to let it go down lower than that. And he's like, well, I was reviewing your annual financial reports. In each of the last few years, you've been hovering at 1.8, 1.9, 1.8, why are you saying we're at 1.5? Well, let me tell you about that. This is the Water Authority's finance director, Lisa Marie Harris, says, I can explain to you that for those reports, we manipulated the numbers. We changed the denominator and numerator around. And I sit behind that, and it didn't show up on their audio because I'm like, what?
Did he fall off his chair?
No, he and I talked for 45 minutes afterward. I can't believe she just said that. I mean, I know it's been going on. I've been saying it's been going on for years, but she said that in open session that they manipulated the numbers on financial reports. And if they're worried about detachment tanking your credit rating, when your head finance person says they manipulated the numbers on their financial reports to falsely inflate their debt service coverage ratios, which is a document they take to market.
Yeah.
The Securities Exchange Commission might have a few guys with some nice silver bracelets who might want to come talk to you. It was stunning.
Go get Miss Curl.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, we manipulated the
Okay. All right.
So if you're interested, if you go to the Water Authority's website, it's on finance, ANF, part 2 audio recording at 1 hour, 9 minutes. So if you want to go listen to that. Not that I memorized that. I had to sit through it live, so. It's not my ringtone yet, but soon it will be my ringtone on my phone.
Okay. That's good. All right, moving on. 16, list of suggested agenda items for the next scheduled communications meeting. I think obviously the standards stay. We're going to keep 14. We're going to talk some more about 13.
11 will definitely have something.
11 will be big.
Do we want to, and Carleen, I don't know if you and Amanda have talked about this, but get the input from this committee on so she can get it straight from you guys, what the communication vision is, what your guys' thoughts are, as she's going through and reviewing what we're doing, just to get.
Yeah,
I don't think we'll
it
be-
is part of our plan this year to do a strategic communications plan, but I think Amanda and I need a little bit more time to plan what we, what we want to ask the committee specifically and that. I don't know if we're going to be ready in July, but definitely by August, we can add that to the agenda.
Okay.
All right. And we'll
I'd like to suggest that at each meeting, we at least talk about where we are on simple customer service. How we're doing in terms of receiving, how many phone calls a month, how many we're returning, how long it takes, what kind of responses are we tracking, whether we're giving positive responses, solving the ratio of the problems brought to our attention that are solved and how much time that takes, and basically how we circle back. There's nothing more important in the world. If there's 5 minutes of extra time when that phone isn't ringing, we should be calling back a customer and say, did you receive the services we understand you did? And were you satisfied with it? Do you have any good things to say about our staff? Or do you have any
Do you need
comments?
additional information?
Do you need additional information?
Well, Josh can certainly work
Yeah.
on getting some of the reports out of our phone system that we track a lot of that stuff. As far as exactly, somebody called in and said there's a leak over on some other place to track
Yeah.
down and then filled out how long it took with all that.
That's not,
It's a considerable effort on our end to be done, but then that somebody's not doing something else. But
It would
we can
still be
start
good
with
to have
some of the
a
metrics.
general overview of statistically
Yeah.
how. the
with that, you
system
guys
works.
can produce out of Jive, right?
That we can get out of the. phone
Okay, so
system.
Like the average time in the queue, the average talk time. I can get you all that data.
Yeah.
so why
I
don't we
think
have
that data ought to be a regular report.
Big-
You can format it and figure out what you can take off the system and know how you can format it and present it to us.
And we're
And
fully
then we can
staffed
track
now
it.
for the first time in some
Yeah.
time.
That's why I brought it up now,
Yeah.
because we really are. We got the team together, which is great. And
Well,
so
may I
we
su-
have that.
may I suggest that we add customer service metric update to the agenda for next month?
Yes.
And if you guys can show us some samples of the data that's available, that's easy out of the reports, and we can see if that can be consolidated into a monthly dashboard.
You could
that
probably
is-
put the dashboard from Jive on this screen and walk them through some of the
yeah,
features.
and then if that dashboard is included as part of our,
Put it out with the agenda.
yeah,
Just
And
put
if
it out with the.
anybody in this committee would like to, I think Rebecca and Sarah are both here, or was just Sarah was here? Is Rebecca here today?
Just Sarah today,
Sarah- Sarah.
Rebecca's working remotely.
Oh, okay. Cause I got a text from her. I was communicating with her on Teams earlier, so I guess it's hard to tell sometimes.
Who's here and who ain't?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's but say hi to Sarah. She's one of our new CSRs up front.
okay,
Great.
all right, and let's see what else. And that's it, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, and if there's any if you have anything to add to brief us on 12 at that point or not on
Yeah,
the
we'll
survey
see.
or
We
excuse
can leave it on the agenda and I can just give an update on how many
Two more.
responses we have. Hopefully it's more than 2 more, but we might have had it added to the website by then and other places that we can report.
Yeah, no, my question was around, or statement was around just an update to the approach. Right?
I see,
Not
okay, yeah.
necessarily how.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on item 16? All right, well then we are adjourned.
Less than an hour.
And don't do customer service like San Diego Gas and Electric. Last month, they came out on Paseo Lindo and they replaced two